Do you know it's a way for all? It is taught in the Quran for big and small. A way of life. Islam is a way of life. A complete. Do you know what Islam says? It says that life's the greatest test. It says that life's a borrowed space. It turns upon race. A way of life, a way of Islam is a way of life, a complete way. Islam solves all of our problems. Allah leaves no stone unturned. Perfect with no flaws at all are the laws of Allah. Islam is a way of life, a complete a way of life, a way of life. Islam is a way of life, a complete it's a complete way.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Listeners at home, I am Abdul Hakim Qasim and I welcome you to another edition of Everyday Muslim Show on Women Radio 91.7 FM. Today is Saturday, the 29th of November 2025, corresponding to the 8th of Jumada Thani 1447 AH. It is the second Saturday of the 6th month of the Hijrah year 1447 AH. Thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the gift of life and that of good health. But just about some 80 days to Ramadan, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala spare our lives till then and beyond. On this program, Everyday Muslim, we try to address misconceptions about Islam, foster peaceful coexistence within the society, and guide the everyday Muslim on their journey in Islam. This program is brought to you by the Muslim Public Affairs Center, MPAC, in partnership with the management of Women Radio 91.7 FM. Allah the Almighty, the Exalted, says in the glorious Quran, in Quran chapter 5, Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 32, Allah says, because of that, we ordained for the children of Israel that if anyone killed a person, not in retaliation of murder, nor for spreading mischief in the land, it will be as if he killed all of mankind. And if anyone saved a life, it will be as if he saved the life of all mankind. And indeed, there came to them our messengers with clear proofs, evidence, and signs. Even then, after that, many of them continued to exceed the limits in the land. Indeed, the words of Allah are true. Today, we are examined of the nation and what is currently going on in Nigeria and the challenge security. So today, we are examining faith and facts, unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. Faith and facts, unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. Nigeria as a nation is celebrated for its diversity, but in recent time, it has found itself under international scrutiny. Reports and claims have emerged suggesting that Christians in Nigeria are being systematically targeted, so much so that the United States government designated Nigeria as a country of particular concern in respect of alleged religious genocide against Nigerian Christians. But as we peel back the layers, a more complex picture emerges. These claims, widely circulated on social media and amplified by select voices, often ignore the underlying realities of communal conflict, poverty, land disputes, violent extremism, and criminality. Yet, the narrative of Christian genocide continues to gain traction, shaping perceptions both within and outside Nigeria. So it is crucial to ask who benefits from this narrative. Certain internal actors, political opportunists, self-serving influencers, religious practitioners, even some media outlets have at times amplified fear, subtly sabotaging Nigeria's image and undermining efforts towards national unity. The result is a country caught between myth and reality, where fear is weaponized and truth becomes a casualty. Today we plan to dive deep into the issue. We examine the facts, confront the myths, and ask the questions Nigerians deserve answers to. So, inshallah, we'll be breaking that down. Like I said, we'll be considering the topic faith and facts unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. This program is streaming live on YouTube via the Women Radio page. Search Women Radio on YouTube, click on the page and join to view the studio live. So later on the program, we would open our phone lines for you to call in and share your thoughts. The program again is Everyday Muslim, and it is brought to you by the Muslim Public Affairs Center, Impact, in partnership with Women Radio 91.7. Let me just reiterate this. We actually use this opportunity to seek your sponsorship and advert placement on this program in order to sustain it. So we look up to you for your support and assistance. We need you to keep this program running. All right. So the topic again is faith and facts, unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. And our guest to take us through this topic is our father, a revered Islamic scholar, Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmad, who is the national missioner of the Ansar-Din Society of Nigeria, a 102-year-old Islamic organization established for the purpose of educational, moral, and social development for Muslims. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, ya Sheikh. So it seems you're muted. You need to unmute yourself, sir. Yeah, Imam. Hello, Imam, are you there? You need to unmute yourself if you're very close so that we can hear you. All right.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear, sir. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right. You can also probably put on your video. There are many people that will join us on that are joining us.
I'm just give me some moments.
All right.
I'm just arriving. I'm just at the airport.
Oh, Allah.
So I'll put it on, but it could be unstable.
Okay, sir. Okay.
I'll put it on right away.
All right, sir. All right, sir. You're good to go, sir. Yes.
All right. Okay.
All right, sir. Alhamdulillah. All right. So, we're looking at the topic faith and facts unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. So that is the claim that Christians in Nigeria are actually facing a genocide, and generally we might not be able to divorce this from the realities of some people, the experiences of some people who believe that they're actually being targeted for their faith. So, and for that reason, they believe that it's because of that reason that they are being targeted because they are Christians. So, but as someone who has observed this country for decades, what does the evidence, from your perspective, actually say, and how do you separate fear from the fact as regards what is going on in Nigeria, sir?
Thank you very much. There will always be selective perception and retention of events, and facts will, always be related within the context of the one who is relating it. Yes. This is Nigeria, our country. We have been around for a while. A long while at that. We have been around for quite a while. I can tell you that Nigeria has a number of problems. We have banditry, we have secessionist problem, we have terrorism problem, we have economic problem, we have also environmental problem, desertification. We also have the problem of internal strife. So we situating what is happening within the country, in this context, we'll realize, we'll discover that the claim that there is a Christian genocide is not supported by the facts on ground. What is supported, what is true, is that there are killings, across the country, in the eastern part of the country, in the northwestern part of the country, in the southwestern part of the country, in the, the north central part of the country, almost everywhere in the country, we have problems. These problems have complex causes. There is a problem of farmer herder, problem. There is also the problem of secessionists. There is problem of banditry. There are problems of terrorism. There are problems that are related with the, unconventional, illegal extraction of the natural resources of this country. These are, but for anyone to say there is Christian genocide, it's unfair, because I'll take you back to what happened in Kano in 2007. In 2007, we woke up to a very gory, very shocking news. You remember Sheikh Jafar, he was leading the Subhi prayer, and he was struck down by Boko Haram. You also remember in 2011, the gory incident of suicide bombing in the Kano Central Mosque, where a lot of people, were killed during the Juma prayer on that fateful day. Before then, some people who are old enough will remember what happened in southern Kaduna. That was started, Zangu Katav, by Reverend Baku. And of course, the Muslim genocide that happened, that led to the arrest, trial, and conviction of General Zamani Lekwo. The sentencing, these are facts on the ground of what really happened. You also remember that, during the commission that was headed by the late Justice Okuta, evidences were presented to the commission, and it is well documented that there were coordinated attempts by certain religious groups to foment trouble and blame it on the Muslims. So, let me say, for the avoidance of doubt, that life in Islam is sacred, and the loss of a single life is regrettable, is sad, is not acceptable, is uncalled for. But for anybody to claim that there is a genocide directed at the Christians is blasphemous. It is untrue, and is not supported by the facts on the ground.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. I love the historical perspective that you also gave to support the fact that it's not actually a religious genocide. It's more of killings and criminalities. Now, but then, how do we untangle religion from the politics, ethnicity, and the economic struggle in these narratives? We know quite well that there are so many angles, perspectives, and complexities revolving around these killings. So, Why actually do we have these incidents being covered with the garb of religion, or and how do we untangle religion from these incidents?
I remember, many years ago when we were in journalism school, they taught us, ownership and control. Ownership and control of the media
The gatekeepers,
is
right?
what is playing out. Is what is playing out now, and I can put this in context. Some years ago, the former First Lady of the United States, Hillary Clinton, one-time presidential candidate of the Democratic Party, was made a claim that shocked the whole of the world. She said, and I quote, those we are fighting today were those we armed and we
Yes.
funded 20 years ago.
Mm.
Said when the Soviets invaded Afghanistan, we needed to checkmate them, and we turned to Saudi Arabia and we asked them to help us extract, extreme beliefs and conventions from the Wahhabi strand of Islam, according to her. And that was how the Al Qaeda was created and was trained, was funded, was armed to fight the communists in Afghanistan. And it is the same Al Qaeda that later became an enemy of the
That's
US, and so I've narrated this story. This is not all. I can give you another one that is recently. A member of Congress, in his testimony, he said, that the funds of USID, most of the money that was allocated to USID was used to fund, and arm Boko Haram. I
yes.
didn't say this.
$60 million.
This is not conspiracy theory. This is something that is said. So, but you ask me, how can we disentangle religion? Unfortunately, they are playing on the gullibility of the majority, and they are exploiting the religious sensibility of the majority. This is always the playbook. Use any tool that can give you an edge. You remember in Iraq, it was the possession of the
Weapons of
phantom
mass.
weapons of mass destruction. In Libya, it was lack of democracy. In Yemen, it was the same thing. In South Sudan, it is religious repression, and so on and so forth. So, whatever, we are dealing with very intelligent set of people, and they study the fault line of each country, each region. And what they do is they exploit this fault line. It could be religion, it could be ethnicity, it could be agitation for resource control, it could be, secession tendencies. But whatever is the strongest. In the case of Nigeria, religion is one. And that is why they have the claim of Christian genocide. I mean, those who are claiming Christian genocide, those who originated it, can explain to us what happened between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and on which side the West and Israel, lined up. Armenia is a Christian country. Azerbaijan is a Muslim country, and there was this conflict over, the Nagorno Karabakh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and of course, because Azerbaijan supply almost 70% of oil to Israel, Israel and America stood behind Azerbaijan, a Muslim country, to fight a Christian country, Armenia. Armenia even has its own pope, you know. I mean, these will unravel the truth and demystify the claim of genocide directed at Christians. Unfortunately, this is Nigeria. You have a lot of Christians claiming genocide, but they are being one-sided. It is a single side, a single story narration. There is another side to it, and I can say, because I have been a member of the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs, I've been a member of the Nigeria Interreligious Council for very long, and as someone who knows, as someone who operates in the inner circles, I can assure you there was never a time that the met and decided to be attacking Christians. This is very ridiculous claim. Of course, it is in Jos, in the North Central, in Plateau, that you remember on Eid Day, about a few years ago, when Muslims were praying Eid al-Fitr or Eid al-Adha, and they opened fire. You remember that woman, the northerner, who was pregnant and had, four, young children. Both of them were not only killed but were murdered, and we can keep count. So there had been massacres, killings of both Christians and Muslims and non-Muslims in many parts of Nigeria, the southern part of Nigeria, the southeastern part of Nigeria, the southwestern part of Nigeria, the north central part of Nigeria, the northwestern part of Nigeria, the northeastern part of Nigeria, and there had been killings, but similarly in areas where there are majority Muslims and areas where there are majority Christians. So factually, how do we establish that what is driving these killings, the single factor that is driving this killing is religion, particularly Islam? This cannot be supported by fact. It is not scientific. Add to this the fact that recently so many people have been apprehended. Very recently, a man was arrested. He's a Christian actually, but he left and improvised explosive device in the church.
Wow.
And he was exposed. So this is happening in the north central part of the country. It is happening particularly in the northeastern part of the country. Of course, there is ESN, the militant arm of IPOB.
IPOB, yes.
That has held that side of the country to ransom. No work, no activity on Mondays. People are murdered for daring to break the curfew, and so on and so forth. So unfortunately, those who declare Nigeria a country of particular concern also have their interest, they have their logic, and this is known. It is the same playbook, in Iraq, the same playbook in Sudan, and everywhere. We are clearly familiar with it. We know they are not interested in religion. They are not interested in Nigeria. They are not interested in Nigerians. They are interested in the resources of this country and they need a pretext to enter. This is the truth. This is the truth.
Mm.
The language changes, but the intention is the same.
Okay.
Venezuela is also a country of particular concern.
Moment.
Are
Yes.
they Muslims?
And they are
So
Christians.
yes, yes, but they have been accused of being
Narco terrorism.
responsible for fentanyl or what is it called?
Yes.
Uh,
Supplying
so
narcotics to the US.
yes, exactly. So to my mind, this is what we must look at, and
All
this
right.
is what we must understand.
Mm.
Nigerian Muslims, Nigerian Christians are not enemies. We have lived together. We have our own share of problems and misunderstandings, but certainly not to the extent of genocide.
All right, sir.
Not to that extent.
All
No.
right, sir. Um, it seems your video is blocked again, Imam. All right.
Okay,
The time.
okay. I'll put it on now.
All right, sir. Now, social media is something that is very, very common and allows the quick spread of information as well as
Mhm.
propaganda in the world today. Now, looking at the social media, it is actually flooded with images and stories that spark outrage. We know quite well the recent incident at, the Eroko Church attack in Kwara State. We know of the kidnap of, in fact, the venerable Edwin Achi that just died in Kaduna. We know of that of the killing of General Musa Uba in Borno State, and so many of things like that. Different attacks, covered on social media. Now, and these attacks being live streamed or being shown on social media, they spark outrage. So, how can the average Nigerian discern the truth from manipulation when the line between reporting and propaganda is so blurred today?
Well, you see the facts, and I'll tell you is this. Again, very fortunately, some of us have background in the media, and the images that your editor eventually, posts uh, are not objective. They are very, very subjective indeed, because it is a choice. Of course, we still have a video. We still have video of images of the Kano Central Mosque, bomb, where body parts and all of these things were just flying around. Please. Wale. Sorry. Please. Okay. I understand. So sorry.
All right.
Mm. So I mean, these images are not objective. They are not objective. They are very selective. Very, very selective. In fact, I've read on social media people who claim that the kidnap, in Kebbi was staged.
Hmm.
That the kidnap in Kebbi was staged, and that the kids are not looking sad. They are looking very happy. They are looking well fed, and that it is that one in Eruku that was staged, and that is not real. Of course, people have a right. They have a right to interpret things, but that is not fact. That is not fact, and it is not balanced.
Hmm.
So again, it does not go to prove anything.
Hmm.
It does not go to prove anything. Of course, what happened, traction the story of an imam in Plateau who
Hmm.
saved more than 300 Christians,
Yes, sir.
you know, in his mosque. Where is this narration? Is this also part of the genocide that is being claimed?
Hmm.
All right. No, you see, we need to be very, very careful. And that reminds me of a story that was told of similar problem to ours, in India. There is animosity and
Yes.
between the Hindus,
And the
who are
Muslims
the
in India.
majority,
Yes,
and the
sir.
Muslims, who are the
Minority.
largest minority in the world. Now, what happened was they had a problem of, drug warlords, and they wanted to divert the attention of the law enforcement. So what did they do? They went to the church, to the mosque, and killed a dog and a pig, and hanged the bodies in the mimbar. And they
What?
went to the temple and killed a cow. They killed the cow in such a very merciless manner. And as soon as Muslims got to the mosque, they say, it must be the Hindus. They know that even a live dog is not welcome in the mosque. So
Hmm.
they have killed a dog and a pig to desecrate
The mosque.
this mosque. And the Hindus also got to their temple and they discovered that they have killed a cow in
Which
such
they
a very
venerate.
cruel,
Hmm.
which they venerate and worship in such a very cruel manner.
Hmm.
And no other section of the community could do that except the Muslims. So before you could say Jack Robinson attacks started,
Hmm.
and it was very hectic for law enforcement to control.
Hmm.
And it was in that instance that
The drug
the
warlords
drug lords,
were able
were
to.
able to do their smuggling,
Wow.
their distribution. They were even the ones supplying, drug to the Muslims and the Hindus,
Hmm.
and they're marketing it as, something that will give them strength. They
Hmm.
are even the ones supplying arms to both. And this is
Wow.
similar to what is
Hmm.
happening today in the Sudan.
Hmm.
In the
Yeah.
Sudan,
Hmm.
who created the ESR, who
The
created the
RSF.
ESR.
Hmm.
And this is why, the RSF, sorry, who created this? Who created the Janjaweed?
Hmm.
eh? Who was responsible for the split of Sudan
Yeah.
into Southern Sudan and
And
Sudan?
hmm.
And so I mean, it is the same. And of course, let me tell you for a fact, this is a well established fact. It's not conspiracy theory. War is big business.
Hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. The military
War
industrial
is
complex.
the military industrial complex profits from war and
Hmm.
from conflict, and it is a legitimization of looting,
Hmm.
and maiming, and stealing, in broad daylight. We have seen this in Iraq. We have
Hmm.
seen it in Libya. We have seen it, and of course, what we must know is for a fact is the problem in Nigeria is multi-level, multifaceted. It is complex. It is not simple. It is not very simplistic approach. That's a fact that we know. Number two, from history, we have not seen, we have not seen an example of any kind of intervention by any country in the West in a crisis in any country that has resulted in stability, that has resulted in progress, that has resulted in peace.
mm, mm, mm,
And my listeners, my viewers can give us one single example of a country where the West has intervened in the name of democracy, in the name of human rights, in the name of religion, in the name of whatever,
All
that
right.
has prospered, that has remained together.
All right. Thank you very much, Imam. In fact, you have answered so many of my questions, simultaneously with what you have said, because I know quite a lot of younger people who only follow what goes on the social media. I believe this is something that we really need to be very, very careful of some of this narrative and repeating unverified claims. And we must also try to understand why some of these incidents are actually covered under the cloak of religion, because they know it's something that can easily spark outrage and cause trouble, which the enemies actually want, by the way. All right, the program is still Everyday Muslim on Women Radio 91.7. We'll go on a short break. When we return, the program continues. Please stay with us. All right, you're still listening to Everyday Muslim on Women Radio 91.7 FM. This program is brought to you by the Muslim Public Affairs Center, MPAC, in partnership with Women Radio 91.7 FM. And today, we are discussing something that really reflects the mood of the nation. We're discussing faith and fact, unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria. And our guest is Sheikh Abdurrahman Ahmad of the National Mission of Asardian Society of Nigeria, a 102-year-old Islamic organization established for the purpose of educational, moral, and social development of Muslims and the society at large. You can be a part of this discourse by calling the number 07000 917 917 07000 917 917. Our toll-free line for the female callers is 0800 1235 917 0800 1235 917. You can also send a message to us via SMS or WhatsApp to the number 081 55 917 917 081 55 917 917. This program is streaming live on YouTube via the Women Radio page. Search Women Radio on YouTube, click on the page and join to view the studio live, and also send in your comments on the live feeds on YouTube. All right. So Again, I want to use this opportunity to tell you that we're seeking your sponsorship and other placement on this program to sustain it. So you can send in your advert. You can also link up with us to sponsor the program. We are looking up to you for support and assistance. Thank you very much as you do so. All right. So, like I said, we are discussing faith and facts, unmasking the myth of religious genocide in Nigeria, and our guest is Sheikh Abdul Rahman Ahmed. Yeah, Sheikh. All right. Looking at all that you have said, we know quite well that these issues have so many connections. And beyond the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. So now, how have the politicians and religious leaders exploited these narratives for influence, or probably even for political points, and at what cost to the truth? Because we really need to amplify some of this so that we can actually warn our people not to fall to these antics. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is very clear. You see, the manipulation of religious sentiment has been one of the most troublesome, most concerning issues that we have been having in Nigeria. Politicians, let's say they are both Muslims and Christians, and both of them equally manipulate religious sentiments, and most of them only pay lip service to religion. In all of this, the truth is the casualty. And I can give several examples. Several examples. This is not conspiracy theory. Those who campaign on the Muslim tickets, in fact, Christians in Nigeria have openly, applauded them that no, they have laid their fare. They have been treating them very excellently. On the contrary, is the Muslims that are complaining of being edged out, being marginalized, being ignored, being neglected, being excluded, and of course, in situations where majority of the ministers in the federal cabinet are not Muslims. Even the so-called security architecture does not reflect the dominance of Muslims. So what are we talking about? Out of all of the service chiefs, how many of them are Muslims? And of course, if it were a Christian general that was killed like a chicken, it will have been the shout of, you see, these Muslims. Everything in this country is, politicized. Look, recently, there was to be the launch of halal economy. Halal economy, and that is a means by which we want to eat Nigeria. And of course, it was cancelled. The launch was cancelled, and Muslims have not enjoyed this kind of response ever in this country. And I give you an example. The introduction of Islamic banking condemnation. Today I can tell you, because I'm involved, that of the clients of the Islamic financial institutions, particularly from the eastern part of this country, I can also tell you that when the sovereign sukuk was introduced in this country, there was a lot of cry. Today, everyone